Welcome, friends of the Greasy Shop Rag. I'm coming to you today from in front of the big ass toolbox at work, and I want to talk a little bit about the most commonly used hand tools that I use in handheld two-cycle equipment repair. This business is a large Husqvarna dealership, among other things, and one of my responsibilities is the handheld equipment. So we're in an area where most of our customers are homeowners. There's no big logging around here. There are some local tree services, but most of it is homeowner equipment. And because of that, you know, the average homeowner may not be up to speed on how to maintain their equipment. Let's just say that. So I see a lot of sour fuel, carb rebuilds, that kind of stuff. So when a piece of equipment comes in that doesn't work, you know, there's a certain procedure I go through just to analyze it. A lot of times the guy's standing in a showroom looking at a wall of saws anyway, trying to figure out, you know, sometimes they know in the back of their head that they screwed up. So what I do is I always look in the fuel tank to see what they've been burning. And that means the first tool I'm going to grab is this nice long flex light. Let me turn this on. There we go. And I'm going to look in the tank and I'm looking for, first of all, is there oil in the mix? And is there water in the bottom of the tank? Now, I can't always tell by looking down in here if there's water in the tank or not. So, this flashlight is the #1 main used tool, but, and maybe not number 2, but let me just get you set up here. This is a radiator fill funnel. So, you know, it's got a deal in the middle here. If you've got a liquid in it, like I do now, some fuel, all right? If you lift this plunger up, everything comes out. So what I like to do is make sure it's empty, and then I just dump the fuel right into this container. Shake it out. I can look inside the fuel tank and see how much debris is in there, what the fuel filter looks like, and then I can look in here and see the quality of the fuel, and I can even drop my light down into the fuel and see if there's water in the bottom. If there is, then a lot of times what I'll do is just take a baby jar and, you know, tap some fuel into the baby jar so I can show to the customer that they had water in the fuel. If everything looks good, I can easily put the fuel right back into the machine. You know, they sell these things on the trucks for like $40. You know, it comes with all the other adapters for radiators, but I don't use any of that crap. That, I would say, is probably my #1 tool. It's been very handy. You know, I got a whole toolbox over there, thousands of dollars of tools in it. And my next most popular tool is a piece of wire that I bent. I know, why is it that some of the cheapest low-cost stuff is the most important? But I use this piece of wire to fish fuel filters out of fuel tanks. Once the filter's out, I can take a Mighty Vac pressure tester, take the fuel filter off, pressurize the fuel line, and I can see if there might be a hole in the, or a crack or a pinhole in the fuel line, or maybe, you know, the carb's leaking. And, you know, I can also test if the needle is lifting off of the seat when I pump the primer bulb. I'm not going to get into the details of that sort of testing, but the Mighty Vac is my next most popular tool. So now that we've looked at the fuel, let's just say the fuel looked good. we want to take a look at what the cylinder looks like. So if we're going to take a look at the cylinder, we're going to use in this case, a T25 bit. And this bit almost never leaves this gun. A lot of saws will use a T27, but T25 matches 4mm. So if I'm switching between 25 and 4mm, I don't have to actually switch the bit. So we're going to pop the cover off of this, and there's so much stuff on this small equipment that's Torx nowadays. And T25, T27, T20, those are all common sizes. Now, you would think with a box full of sockets and wrenches and all that good stuff, I'd have a nice snap-on ratchet and socket that I use normally on these, but it's a scrunch. I don't know why. I always grab the scrunch to do these things. It just actually seems easier to me. The only problem I got is that a lot of people think it's just a scrunch, and if they see it on the bench, they can just take it and not return it. Yeah, that's BS. You know, these scrunches, they work for different sizes. So here's spark plug sizes. This one here is kind of nice because I can do the 13mm for the bar nuts, but also Husky's been providing these scrunches and some saws, and you can reset the chain brake with this style scrunch. The only thing I don't like about leaving these things here is that other people in the shop think, well, it's just a scrunch. If I need it, I can take it, and who cares? It's just a scrunch, right?
Bullshit detected. Take precautions.
Yeah, that's bullshit. I'm using that scrunch to do my job. I mean, there's other scrunches in the shop. If you need a scrunch, grab a scrunch from over there. Leave mine alone. I've tried painting them. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about welding a chain to this thing and welding it to the bench, and no one can take it. Now, the other end of the chain might actually go around my fuel can here because it's getting pretty old when you go to grab the fuel can and it's empty. People don't think they need to refill them.
That's horseshit.
So we're going to pull the spark plug out. We're going to use our handy dandy light again. We're going to look in the cylinder, and we're looking for a clean, shiny cylinder, but that's not the case. I don't know. I doubt you're going to be able to see this on video, but that cylinder wall above the exhaust port is just roached. So despite it looking like this customer took care of their saw, at some point they probably overheated it. Now, if I found that the cylinder was good and the fuel was bad and I wanted to pull the carb off and rebuild it, my 8mm socket, that would definitely come into play to get the carburetor off. And once the carburetor is off, I know, same thing, toolbox full of thousands of dollars worth of tools, and this is the tool I'm going to use for the repair. The first reason I'm going to use it is I'll be cutting open carb kit to get gaskets and diaphragms. I may be scraping the face of the carburetor where the gaskets are stuck, and on a lot of carburetors the metering lever height from here, let's get a little closer, this is the metering lever right here. A lot of times the height of this is supposed to match the height of this, and that's very easy to test with any straight edge. You know, put a razor blade here and check it. It's not like I don't have the factory tools for doing that. I mean, here's the Walbro gauge, here's the Zama gauge, but You know, just get her done. So the razor blade is one of my next most used tools. What else do we got? So we got the light, the blade, the scrunch, the 8mm, the bent wire with the hook, T25, vacuum pump, the big funnel. Where's my cheat sheet? Oh yeah, carb tools. So fine line for Husky, Poulan, some other brands, and just a small straight blade for old steel and whatever. I guess the only other tool might be the Phillips Screwdriver that I would list as some of my most common tools. I mean, almost every carburetor has got a Phillips head screw on it somewhere. Usually the cover screws over here are Phillips. So I guess that's all I got for you on the most common used hand tools in chainsaw repair as seen by me. Thanks for watching. Later.